Hello, and thank you for joining us for the KLKN Congressional District 1 debate between Patty Pansing-Brooks and Mike Flood. I'm Ogallala native Emma Crabb, a senior at the College of Journalism and Mass Communications at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Debate is the bedrock of the democratic process, and we are proud to be hosting tonight's event live from Harold and Marion Andersen Hall at the UNL campus. This debate is brought to you commercial-free through the support of AARP. Please help me welcome KLKN anchor and tonight's moderator, Rod Fowler.
All right, Emma, thank you so much. Great job, by the way. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this special congressional debate, a chance for you to really meet the candidates, find out how they stand on certain issues. I can't believe the November elections are just around the corner. This is their last scheduled debate, so we're very proud and honored that they picked KLKN to do this. As Emma mentioned, we're coming to you live from Andersen Hall on the UNL campus. As you can see, we have a live audience here, and we have asked them to refrain from cheering and clapping during the debate, except for two times. At the end, when we thank our candidates, and now when we get ready to welcome our candidates. So what do you say, gang? I think they are ready. So we're ready to introduce you formally here. On the Democratic ticket, we do have State Senator Patty Pansing-Brooks of Lincoln. On the Republican side, former State Senator and now Congressman Mike Flood of Norfolk. As many of you know, Mr. Flood won the special election earlier this year after Jeff Fortenberry stepped down, so that's where we are now. It's a new ball game here with the election, just 35 days away. So again, thank you both for being here. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much for having us.
Cool.
As far as the questions go, we're going to keep it pretty simple. The first segment of questions, you're going to have 2-minute responses each, and then we're going to have some questions where you have 1-minute response time. We don't have any rebuttals per se inside the program here, but by all means, if we get to an issue where we need to explain a little bit more, have you guys explain, or if you want to respond to something your opponent said, we'll give them more time, okay? So we're on the same page there, right?
Sounds good.
Okay, well, we flipped a coin. You know, we wanted to make this official. In fact, people from your both campaigns were witnesses for that. We flipped a coin to see who would go first with opening and closing statements. Opening statements are going to be a minute each, closing statements 2 minutes each. So Patty, we begin with you. You have 1 minute for your opening statement.
Thank you, Rod, and thank you to KLKN and the fabulous young students at the UNL College of Journalism, and also thank you, Nebraskans, for tuning in. I want you to remember 3 things from this debate. Number 1, I am the only candidate that will fight for women's reproductive rights and birth control. Number 2, I am the only candidate not taking corporate PAC dollars. I will not be beholden to special interests, only to you, my fellow Nebraskans. And number 3, I initiated my campaign and have worked the entire time to fight for bipartisanship, to work across the aisle, to try to heal the political divide in this country. And we know it's affecting things like inflation and solving major problems. So I promise to do that. Finally, I want to tell you that in the last 2 debates, there were multiple misstatements by my opponent, and I'm going to be issuing a flood alert tonight whenever he makes a statement that is false.
All right, thank you, Senator. Congressman, your 1-minute opening remarks.
Well, thank you, Rod. Thanks to KLKN and the University of Nebraska for hosting us, and to those of you watching it tonight, thank you as well. As I travel the state, I talk to Nebraskans in the 1st Congressional District, and every time I talk, there's a recurring theme. America is not on the right track. We're in a recession. Inflation is at a 10 or 40-year high. There's a crisis on our southern border, and crime is increasing, including right here in the city of Lincoln. Who do we have to thank for this mess? It's the Democrats and their one-party control in Washington. Now, she's going to spend tonight trying to distract you from her partisan left-wing record in the Nebraska legislature. The choice, though, is very clear. If you believe that America should stay in the status quo, if you believe that Nancy Pelosi should be the Speaker of the House, then by all means, vote for my opponent. If you want a change in America's direction, then I'd be honored to have your vote. Thank you, Rod. I look forward to the discussion.
Let's get it started here. We're going to start our 2-minute responses for the questions we have. Congresswoman, we're going to start with you. You get the first question here. Inflation is the worst in decades, as you have mentioned. Interest rates keep going up. Is raising the federal interest rate the right thing to do? What else needs to be done to slow down inflation? Again, you have 2 minutes.
Well, Americans are dealing with higher prices at the grocery store, supply chain issues, Gas has been out of control this year. There's a lot of families in this state that didn't even get to go on a vacation because gas was almost at $5 a gallon. And what did our president do? He went over to Saudi Arabia on a bended knee to beg the oil barons over there for more production. We need to stop the reckless spending. Just last month, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats in Congress, and it was supported by my opponent, spent another $500 billion on environmental big government giveaways. Not everybody wants to drive a Tesla. We can't afford the out-of-control spending that is taking us down a very bad path. I talk to Nebraskans every single day. People that say, I used to have more money at the end of the month. Last year at this time, I looked at my bank balance and I had $400 in my account. This year, $150. Things are getting tough out there for a lot of families. It starts with stopping the out-of-control spending. It moves to finding a way to make America energy independent. We can't be begging Saudi Arabia for lower gas prices. We have the ability to do that right here in the domestic United States. The first thing Joe Biden did was stop the drilling permits. We have to get our refineries going again. We have to get America back on top and energy independent so that we aren't beholden to foreign interests. It's costing us a lot of money. The amount of money the federal government's printed and put into circulation has delivered the highest inflation in 40 years. And Rod, you mentioned interest rates. Because of that inflation, you can't even buy a house for a lot of middle-income people anymore because the monthly payment is just too high.
Senator Pansy Brooks, 2 minutes.
I have at least 3 flood alerts there. I am not the most liberal. That's number one. You can check out that I've passed over 60 bills in a bipartisan manner.